Welcome to Beacon English Podcast. Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are focusing on a topic that I think touches everyone, really. It's the fundamentals of leisure, of travel.
Yeah, we have a really interesting stack of source material for this one. It's a collection of notes, some conversations, all centered on the basic logic of planning a vacation.
A proper break, yeah.
It's essentially a blueprint for the vacation mindset. We're trying to go a little deeper than, the usual travel blogs.
Right.
We're analyzing how we instinctively categorize destinations, the real reason for every single item we pack, and what our choices say about us.
About our need for rest versus our need for, activity.
Exactly.
Our mission today is to pull out that core logic of leisure travel. This isn't just about where to go. It's more about the psychology of it. The psychology of separating from your daily life.
Finding that shortcut to understanding why you might feel drawn to a loud, energetic city one year.
And then the complete quiet of the mountains next. Okay, let's unpack this.
Well, what's fascinating here is where the sources begin. They start by demanding a really clear definition of the concept itself.
What a vacation actually is.
Right. It's a dedicated period when you are not required to work or go to school. It's a break. And it's specifically for rest and for fun.
And they make a vital distinction almost immediately between traveling and just plain resting.
Mm-hmm.
They bring up the idea of the staycation, which I think it's more relevant now than it's ever been.
It absolutely is, because it sort of defines the problem we're often trying to solve with travel. A staycation is a purposeful break, but it's all done at home.
You just get rid of all the logistics.
All of them. No travel, no jet lag, and maybe, best of all, none of the work of packing.
And instead, you're supposed to dedicate that time to low-effort things, reading, watching movies, maybe some cooking.
Or, and this is probably the most important part, just focusing on serious rest, on sleep.
The insight for you, the listener, is pretty crucial here. A staycation strips away all that stress, but it tests something else.
It tests your ability to create what psychologists call cognitive distance.
Can you really convince your brain you're on a break, even if you're sleeping in your own bed?
And the sources confirm that whether you travel or you stay home, the measure of success is the same. It's about maximizing both fun and rest.
And they say both are very important. You have to satisfy both of those needs to feel properly refreshed. That distinction, that need for quiet rest versus stimulating fun, it really sets the stage for how we categorize destinations.
Yeah, the material breaks it all down into three main types of environment. You have the beach, the mountains, and the city.
And we should see these not just as places, but more like points on a spectrum.
A spectrum that goes from natural relaxation on one end,
all the way to structured excitement and, mental stimulation on the other. Let's start at the most relaxing end of that spectrum, the beach. This environment is almost entirely focused on just sensory ease.
It minimizes your cognitive load. Think about it. The activities are so simple, almost repetitive.
Swimming in the ocean, lying on the sand, maybe reading a book.
And for your brain, the visual field is simple too. It's just blue water, beige sand. That kind of simplicity is, it's deeply restorative for a lot of people.
For children too, the activities are simple. They're tactile. Building sandcastles, playing with a beach ball. It's elemental.
Sun, sand, and water, a very basic form of rest. Okay, so then we move inward to the mountains. This is a complete shift in what's required of you.
Right. The atmosphere is quiet, it's nature-focused, sure, but the activities themselves, they become very physical.
It's no longer simple relaxation. It's high physical engagement.
We're talking long walks, dedicated hiking, and the notes, they explicitly call this very good exercise.
It's a physical challenge that's often missing from our daily lives. And the reward is breathing that fresh, clean air.
What's interesting here, though, is the element of observation. Peaceful observation.
Exactly. You're surrounded by silence, and you have the chance to see wildlife, birds, squirrels, maybe even deer.
The peace here is something you earn through physical effort. It's not like the passive rest you get at the beach.
A very different feeling.
And then finally we get to the city. This is the complete other end of the spectrum.
Defined by noise, energy, density, consumption. It's a choice you make for deliberate cognitive overload.
The activities here are all about culture, immersion.
You're visiting museums for art and history. You're seeking out famous buildings and monuments.
They mention things like the Eiffel Tower, the Statue of Liberty. You take a lot of photos to prove you were there.
And critically, you're eating. You're eating diverse, global food. Italian, Japanese, Mexican.
I really like that framing. So if we pull it all together, The beach and mountains are defined by natural quiet,
Right. Encouraging either passive rest or active contemplation.
whereas the city is defined by noise, energy, and a kind of sensory overload.
Precisely. And this structure, it helps you decide what you actually need to recover.
Do you need quiet and simplicity to downshift, or do you need that constant novelty of a city to feel like you've really broken free?
A really important question to ask yourself.
And that analysis transitions perfectly into preparation, because where you go dictates what you need to bring. Here's where it gets really interesting. We can look at the packing lists not just as, a list of items.
But as strategic defenses.
Exactly. Defenses against the specific environmental challenges of each destination.
So let's start with the beach. That packing list is all about self-protection. Protection from the elements.
Of course, you need a swimsuit, you need a towel, but the number one critical item is sun cream.
The sources really stress this. They say it's an absolute must because the sun is strong.
Then you have a hat, sunglasses. The whole list points to one thing. The biggest risk at the beach is immediate environmental damage.
UV exposure, overheating, the light clothes, your t-shirt and shorts. That's just for temperature regulation.
Now let's switch to the mountains. The packing list changes completely. Now it's about protection from terrain and sudden temperature changes.
Good, comfortable shoes. They are your primary safety tool for walking on uneven ground.
And a jacket. Temperature regulation is key here, too.
Yeah, because even on a hot day, the evenings can get cold very fast. Or even just being in the shade.
And the backpack isn't optional. It's a symbol of self-sufficiency. You have to carry your own water, your own snacks. You could be hours away from anything.
Then you have the city list, which is kind of a blend of endurance and social presentation.
Comfortable shoes again. Always comfortable shoes. But this time, it's for managing fatigue from walking huge distances, not from tricky terrain.
Right. Between museums, restaurants, shops.
But the city adds a new requirement.
Mm.
Presentation. You need nice clothes for a nice restaurant. That's not a concern in the mountains.
No, function definitely trumps form there.
And finally, for the city, you need your technology, a camera, a phone with a map.
Which is for, one, documenting memories, but also, critically, for tactical navigation.
The biggest risk in a dense city is just getting lost.
Or missing out on an opportunity because you can't find it.
It's so telling. These simple lists really capture the whole strategy. You're packing against UV rays at the beach.
Against terrain and cold in the mountains.
And against physical fatigue and social complexity in the city.
And that just brings us right back to the staycation's big advantage, the pure logistical relief.
No packing.
The sources say packing can be a lot of work, and just deciding not to travel removes that entire layer of strategy and stress.
Okay, moving on from what we pack to how we get there. The sources talk about 4 ways to travel: car, plane, train, and bus.
And we should probably compare them based on the experience they offer, not just, how fast they are.
Right. Let's start with the car, the classic road trip. This is for places that are not too far.
And the sources highlight one word: freedom. You can stop whenever you want. You can see things along the way. That flexibility is the main benefit.
It's a kind of psychological relief, isn't it? Plus, there's the capacity. You just put all your bags in the car. No stress about weight limits.
Then you have the plane, reserved for places that are very far. Its benefit is just raw speed.
You can be in another country in just a few hours. That speed gives you instant cognitive distance from your daily life.
And the experience itself is described as amazing, being up there above the clouds. It maximizes efficiency.
But you sacrifice control and often comfort.
The train, though, offers a totally different philosophy. It's
Yeah.
noted as being very relaxing.
The journey itself is part of the vacation.
Yeah, you just sit and watch the scenery go by. You can read a book, talk to people. It's slower than a plane, but the source calls it very nice.
And lastly, the bus is mentioned more simply. Just a functional way to get around that can take you to many places.
So more about utility than a unique experience.
And this whole comparison of how we travel, it ties right back to that core choice we talked about at the beginning.
Do you prefer a relaxing vacation, one focused on reading and sleeping?
Or an active one, defined by hiking and walking and constant movement.
And I think the key insight here is probably the most realistic one.
The mix.
The mix. While those two extremes exist, pure rest versus pure activity, the sources conclude that most people actually prefer a mix of both.
A successful break usually finds a good balance between resting and doing something stimulating.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that need for balance, it should inform every decision you make.
For example, you probably wouldn't choose a slow, relaxing train ride if you need to be at your peak for a huge mountain hike the very next morning.
Right. The pace of the travel has to match the pace of the vacation itself.
So let's apply all this knowledge to the real-world examples in the sources. They give two different vacation styles, both described as perfect.
The first one was the relaxing beach trip, and its success was all about simplicity, predictability.
Daily swimming, the goal of building a very, very big sandcastle, eating fresh fish.
And daily ice cream. Can't forget that.
Can't forget that. The result was very relaxing. And the notes say that the happy memories were the best souvenirs.
The second trip was the active city trip. Totally different. This was all about action.
Walking everywhere, visiting 3 museums, taking tons of pictures, and just this relentless hunt for diverse food.
Amazing pizza. Delicious noodles. The result was exciting and delicious.
The conclusion they draw is pretty clear. There is no single right way to have a wonderful vacation.
Success depends on what you like. The active person finds rest in novelty, while the passive traveler finds rest in repetition.
Okay, so let's look at the dream destinations they mention. This tells us about the deeper motivations, the things we save up for.
One of the dreams was Italy, specifically Rome. This was driven by a deep desire for history.
Wanting to see the old buildings that are so famous?
And just as important, the food. The promise of real Italian pizza, pasta, and gelato.
So that's a dream of cultural learning mixed with rich, immediate sensory rewards.
The other dream was completely different. It was to see the northern lights in a place like Norway or Iceland.
This is a desire for something magical and quiet.
And specifically, the idea was staying in a small, warm house and just looking at the sky at night. It's observational, it's patient.
And it's set in a cold, quiet, minimalist environment.
So what does this all mean? These dream trips combine a very specific environment, either historic and dense or cold and minimal, with a specific way of engaging with it.
Right. Active immersion in history on one hand versus peaceful, quiet observation of nature on the other.
It's a perfect summary of those two core needs.
We've really covered the entire logic loop of leisure travel today, from defining what a break-even is
To categorizing those three core environments: beach, mountain, and city.
Then we looked at the risk management that's hidden in our packing lists and compared the actual experience of traveling by car, plane, or train.
And understanding these fundamentals is, I think, incredibly valuable. It turns planning from just guesswork into something more strategic
It helps make sure that the break you plan is the break you actually need.
that aligns with your core need for both rest and fun.
And we started all this by talking about the logistical brilliance of the staycation, the zero stress option.
Mhm. And we just finished by hearing that happy memories are the best souvenirs no matter where you make them.
So that brings up a final question.
If the ultimate goal is just accumulating happy memories and genuine rest, and a staycation can give you that rest without any of the travel stress, then does the measure of a successful vacation cease to be where you go? Does it become purely about how deeply and genuinely relaxed you feel afterward? That's the question that really dictates all future travel planning.